The Minister of Public Security, Kemraj Ramjatan, was speaking at the opening for a one-day training session for education welfare officers and guidance counselors in trafficking in persons at the Police Force Training Center on Camp Street. Minister Ramjatan said the scourge of trafficking in persons for labor and sexual exploitation is most prevalent in the indigenous communities and is increasing frequently. All of the trafficking in person cases so far this year included 131 persons, all of whom are females. According to the minister, the action plan for the prevention, protection and prosecution of human trafficking has created huge advances.
Reported cases came out of regions 2, 3, 4 and 7. It's happening in the mining areas with increasing frequency. However, the risk of human trafficking remains real throughout Guyana, notwithstanding these hot spots in regions 2, 3, 4, and 7. And so we must remain vigilant and we must utilize basically our education that we're doing here and also the various hotlines that we have.
The minister expressed disappointment over the fact that cases are not prosecuted fully, especially as it relates to trafficking of foreign nationals.
And when they get caught and we investigate and find out who is the perpetrator and the victims and so on, most of these victims want to go back home. They're from overseas countries. And as a result, when the trials come on, it's very difficult. We are trying to have this witness protection thing so that we can keep them in Guyana, but it's very costly because sometimes the cases take years. And so we have to do better in relation to that and probably ask them from when they go back home that they could Skype in their testimony for trial dates. But generally when they go, we don't get to meet them or find or hear back from them. And that's the difficulty.
According to the minister, the majority of the persons are used to smuggle drugs across the borders or for labor and sexual exploitation. The minister said trafficking in person occurs frequently in depressed and poverty-stricken Latin America areas, with neighboring country Venezuela being one of the most popular countries. Meanwhile, the minister said the training session on Wednesday is an effort to combat human trafficking so that the welfare and guidance counselors can recognize the signs of human trafficking as they interact mostly with at-risk youths.
Important. And it is important for those who will be interacting with the children in our school system to also have a grasp of this scourge of humanity, trafficking in persons. And how it happens at the corners you will least expect. You would not expect that sometimes your neighbor, your relative, very close relative, doing something that is so repugnant.
The training is being conducted in collaboration with the Education Ministerial Task Force for Trafficking in Persons and the National Anti-Narcotics Agency. Reporting for Newsroom, Isnella Patwo.